This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet, a slim front pocket wallet available in carbon fiber and titanium. With more than 250,000 sold, a lifetime guarantee and free shipping, get 10% off with the code GOLDFISH at ridgewallet.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Wednesday means it's Wild Card Wednesday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and today's deck, it is definitely wild. So we're heading to Pauper for a deck I'm calling Sprout Storm. That's right, we are storming in Pauper, and it comes to us from Triple Criz, who took it to a top 8 finish in a very small Magic League tournament. So congrats to Triple Criz on a really cool deck. Also, a quick thing before the quick reminder, you can see the price up there, $202.27 ticks. That's a little deceptive. The reason it's so high, at least mostly, is there's a lot of snow-covered basic lands in the deck, and snow-covered basic lands not all that cheap in the paper world, so that's jacking up the price. It's not a super cheap deck, but it is a lot less expensive, and there's no real reason to have to play the snow-covered land. So keep that in mind. Don't freak out at a $200 Pauper deck, because the snow-covered basics are making it look a lot worse than it really is. Anyway, a quick reminder before we break down this crazy Sprout Storm deck for Pauper. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Sprout Storm is basically Pauper players' reaction to really wanting to play Storm in the format. Storm is just a super popular archetype. It used to be really powerful in Pauper, but Wizards wouldn't have any of it. They have banned essentially every card with the keyword Storm on it. Grape Shot, Empty the Worms, Temporal Fissure. They just kept banning them until eventually they're like, alright, we're getting rid of Storm forever. You just can't play Storm's cards in Pauper. It's too good. It's not fun. However, they forgot one. There's one card that they forgot to ban, and that's a card that our deck is built around today. Sprouting Vines. Sprouting Vines probably doesn't look like the kind of combo piece that is going to win you the game. It's definitely not a Grape Shot. It's definitely not an Empty the Warrants. It's not even a Temporal Fissure. So for 3 mana, it's an instant. You get to search for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your library. Not even on the battlefield, just into your hand. But it also has Storm. So if you can cast a bunch of spells before this, we can pull every one of our, I believe, 14 basic lands out of the deck. 14 basic lands. So it's essentially a draw 14. Yes, it's all lands. However, with a bunch of work and dedication, we can turn this into an actual combo win. So step 1 with Sprout Swarms, of course, after storming off, but we'll talk about all the cheap spells we cast in a minute, is Inner Fire. So Inner Fire is 4 mana, but it adds a red mana for each card in your hand. So if we can Sprout Swarm up to like 14 cards in our hand, then all of a sudden, this is 4 mana and 14 mana. 14 mana, that's not even counting, we might have some non-land cards in our hand. So it's possible we're adding even more mana than that, 15, 20 mana, because we're going to have so many lands in our hands from Sprouting Vines. So after we get all our lands, we make tons of mana with Inner Fire, and then our big finisher, we have 1 copy of Karvik Storage, which is just an X spell, kind of like a fireball, goes directly to a creature player, 1 red and X. The trick is, if you pay an extra 2, it can't be countered by counter spells, essentially. So what this means is even if our opponent's playing Dazes and counter spells and Delver decks, which are really popular in Pauper, we can still just kill our opponent. So with 2 copies of Inner Fire, along with a bunch of spells, so we get all our lands with our Sprouting Vines, we could just kill our opponent with 1 Karvik Storage right to our opponent's face. So the rest of the deck, as far as storming off, we mostly have a bunch of cantrips. So these cards not only up our storm count, we cast a Ponder, Storm +1, Pre-Drain, Storm +1, but they're helping us find our pieces, our Sprouting Vines, our Inner Fire, so churning through our deck to find our combo pieces. Then we have Manamorphose and Gush, which are actually kind of important to the combo. So first off, Manamorphose lets us turn the red mana from Inner Fire into blue mana, so we can keep casting our cantrips. We could turn our mana into green mana mana if we needed to Sprout Swarm again for some reason. So the ability to change colors of our mana is really nice. Plus, it's just a free spell to up our storm count. And then Gush is another way to get cards in our hand. So picking up 2 lands might seem like a downside, but when we're casting Inner Fire to add tons and tons of mana, being able to pick up a couple of lands off the battlefield not only draws us cards, it actually is like +4 mana because we're cashing in Gush for 2 lands, 2 new cards in our hand. So we're getting that mana back and then some when we cast our Inner Flame. So it's a great combo piece almost to add even more mana with our Inner Flame and really go crazy. The other sweet part of this deck is Tolarian Wind. So Tolarian Wind just helps make sure that we find our finishers, our Kravix Torch, whatever we need to close out the game. This is basically our Wheel of Fortune or something, except in our deck, we're not drawing 7, we're drawing as many cards as we discard from our hand. So if we Sprout Swarm and get all the lands out of our deck, then we cast Tolarian Winds, suddenly we're turning those 14 lands into 14 real cards because we don't have lands left in our deck anymore, which means our Inner Flames, our cantrips, our Kravix Torch should finish out the game. Even more Inner Flames to make even more mana. So it's kind of the key piece to actually finishing the game is the Tolarian Winds to transmute and convert all those useless lands that we get with our Sprouting Vines into real cards to close out the game. Otherwise, we have a little bit of traditional Storm stuff, Rite of Flame, Lotus Petal, just fast mana, making us go off as early as possible, upping the storm count to make sure we get all those lands with our Sprouting Vines. Chromatic Star, Conjurer's Bauble, just one-ofs. Chromatic Star, also kind of a cheap spell to up the storm count. Conjurer's Bauble helps make sure that we can find our Kravix Torch. Like, let's say we have to cast Tolarian Winds because we're trying to set up our combo. We end up discarding our Kravix Torch. Conjurer's Bauble can put that back on the bottom of our library after we've went through our whole deck. We draw it with the Conjurer's Bauble, then we're able to cast it and close out the game. So it's kind of protection because we only have the 1 torch to actually close out the game. Otherwise, to protect our combo, we have Gigadouse and Pyroblast. So Pyroblast, pretty simple. 1 red mana, counter a counter spell essentially in our deck. Gigadouse lets us cast it on our opponent's end step to tap down all of our opponent's lands so they can't leave up counter magic. So it's kind of another protection spell. We see it in Modern and some of the Taking Turns decks as a way to like time walk the opponent, but we're just using it to tap our opponent's lands so they can't leave up that counter spell or Spell Pierce or whatever. Mana base wise, we talked about all the snow covered lands, 14 of them to get with our Sprouting Vines, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse to find our basic lands. In the sideboard, a bunch more counter spells to fight through counter magic if our opponent brings in even more after sideboarding. Dispel, for instance, Arcane Denial gets anything. Sure, our opponent's going to draw some cards, we don't care, we're going to win the game. Pyroblast for blue spells, Hydroblast for red spells, more Gigadrouses and Kravix Torch to fight through disruption and have an extra finisher in case one gets hit by duress or something. Accumulated Knowledge and Boilerworks kind of lets us go long, gives us some more card draw if we're playing in a resource denial type matchup where our hand's getting attacked with discard. Electrickery to deal with a board full of tokens, Flaring Pain to fight through life gain, and that is Sprout Storm for Pauper. And that's our instant deck tech for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.